What up, guys? My name is TJ.
Sup, my name's Stroden.
And this is the Infection 19 podcast, number 3.
Oh.
Who would have thought we would have made it this far, you know? When we first started back in the day.
Back in a month ago.
We had no followers, and now look at us. Years
strong.
later, 200 strong.
200 strong.
On Facebook, 4 subscribers.
Giving all that exposure.
Mate, quit your job. Quit your job right now.
All that exposure currency.
Speaking of exposure, isn't it funny that a whole bunch of these rich economists and businessmen are suddenly going, oh
my God, the economy is ruined. Oh my God, we can't survive without cash or money.
Oh,
really? As artists, really, you can't survive without. You don't like working for free.
you know how it feels to be a musician with thousands of dollars worth of gear.
Yeah, I love traveling to a place where I pay $50 for petrol and I get paid $40 for the
Bro,
gig.
what's your worst gig? Not so much your worst actual, like playing wise, but in terms of, or what's the worst offer you've had in terms of playing a gig and the pay?
Oh, there's a few.
There's a few, eh? Just give us one or two. Just give us a story, man, because I've got a few myself.
Well,
from any time period.
Definitely the exposure's one of them. I know someone wanted me to go all the way out to this. They wanted me to go all the way out to this winery and play for free.
Yeah.
And it was like an hour and a half away. And like they were saying to me, like this was out of like what land.
Yeah.
And for those of you overseas who don't know what is, it's pretty much rural. Out in the
middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere. And this is where this winery was. And and like I was at that time, because I was a real knucklehead when I first started playing or trying to, get into the whole thing of professional musician. And I was just playing everywhere and anywhere. So I like a dummy, I said yes.
As you do.
And I traveled an hour. Well, really, I didn't actually know it was an hour and a half. Like they actually told me, it's about 40 minutes from the outskirts of the metropolitan.
Mate.
But like I didn't really take into account that I live like 40 minutes from that borderline. So it was like 40 minutes just to get to the borderline of the metropolitan area, and then it was like another 40 minutes from there on out. And I went out there like no one is there. And then they like tell me like, oh yeah, you should try to get some of your mates in the city. And I'm like, I gotta tell them to come an hour and a half out here, like, what's like?
Oh my goodness!
How does that work? Like I was like, I can't tempt people from an hour and a half that way. And there's like, because we're out in the middle of nowhere, there's literally like everyone's like married to their cousin. It was
Kiunga.
Yeah, and like that was the other thing about it was all the people that were there, or the people, because there were some people from their community that came out. It was it was like Hillbillyville, and like you just felt awkward because they wanted you to stay around because it was like fresh meat.
Bro.
And it doesn't help that I'm this pigmentation of skin color.
For the folks at home, what he's trying to say is because he's of the brown persuasion.
Like I increased cultural diversity by 100% when I turned up. When
he turns up to events like that, mate.
Yeah, diversity and culture goes up 100%.
All the mate, if he was gay as well, he'd be ticking all the boxes of diversity.
Gay, transgender,
and in a wheelchair. Oh my gosh, so many boxes ticked. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I think what's worse, actually, than free gigs or exposure, because those are bad. But I think when they try to give you like
coronavirus,
the worst gigs for me, or the worst offers I've had, are the ones where, similar to yours, they want you to go all the way overseas, or God knows where, right? and then you give them a figure, and the figure barely covers the cost of travel
Yep.
and other things, and then they'll say, "Oh, that's a bit much," and I'm like, "How do you expect me to get gas? Is $1. Gas can be anywhere from $1.90 to $2.10 in New Zealand,
Yeah.
and you expect us to go all the way 600 kilometers up north for stuff all, you know what I mean?"
Yeah. It's one of the hardest things to balance is art and business.
Yeah.
It's not impossible, but it's just one of the hardest things to balance because it's this like perception that's always just been carried, even long before we got into it. That it's just like, oh well, it's not an essential thing. But as what we've discovered through this lockdown, what's the main thing everyone's been doing is indulging in all things that have to do with
the
art.
arts. How many of you right now watching Netflix? How many of you listening to music, watching live streams of concerts? What else? Reading books, looking at anime, pictures, all of that. Games.
Yep,
they're all art.
Games.
They're all art.
All art. It's all art in some way, shape, or form. Like it all stems from artwork. And yeah, this is just how essential. I remember there was a mate of mine who said, if you were to take out color out of everything, you would hate where you lived. And art is that color.
Did you hear that, white folks? I'm just saying. If you take out the color, what was the quote, bro? Something.
If you take out the color of anything, then you'll hate it. You'll automatically hate it. If color is taken out of everything, then no one ever is drawn to anything that's dull.
Seriously though, yeah, like on a non-racist tone, I get what you mean. It's the
well with that one, like the thing that really gripes me, and like you coming from a brown person, but it's kind of like how what should we call it? How much of a privilege it is to have culture. You know what I mean? Like when they have dignitaries or super famous, amazing, important people come through. Oh, now it's okay to show the Maori culture, but we'll only show this side of them where they're dancing around in their grass skirts. Like,
bro, I feel you on the say. No, on the real, I always think it's amazing how many people discredit things that are Maori, whether it's the language or
indigenous people, just in
but
general.
The only and you can attest to this because you lived overseas. The only thing Kiwis have that distinguishes us from the rest of the Western world is Maori.
It's Maori culture, for sure.
The Maori culture, like everyone's going tūtiro mai ngai, oh, I'm like, what is that? That's Maori. You're all doing hakas, you're wearing kori patterns, you're flying on Air New Zealand, and it's like the only thing that distinguishes it from other airlines is the kori patterns.
Yep.
The All Blacks are famous for, which are our biggest brand by far in New Zealand.
Yeah.
They're famous for the haka.
Yeah.
More than rugby.
Yeah. Like even people living in Aussie, on the Western side, like rugby's not really a thing. It's not a thing that's really dominated over on the West Coast. But
Aussie rules, eh?
Yeah, Aussie rules over on the Western side. Go the Dockers, West Coast Eagles. But yeah, like they may not know rugby, but they know the haka. And that's all. Like some of them, that's all that they'll watch. They'll just watch that little
minute and a half of the haka.
Yeah, so haka, and then that's it. They'll tune out the game, and then if the Wallabies win, then they'll bring it up.
I feel that's a problem everywhere though with indigenous cultures. Like even in Australia, isn't it? You're having these, especially lately with these. What do they call it? Welcoming to countries or whatever they call it at the beginning of games. Sorry for any Aborigines watching this. I'm not familiar, but you know what I'm on about, eh?
Yeah, I think that is actually a good thing.
No, it is good
because it's a step in their reconciliation or their walk towards towards a treaty and stuff like that.
But I think it's good. But Aussies will flaunt that. But I'm like, don't Aborigines have the worst mortality rates in the Western world?
Yeah. Yeah.
So something's up. You can't just be like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're trying to make it just the nice, sexy parts.
Yeah. Yeah, but propaganda of culture in that, or just it's acceptable in situations. Now, I may sound like a brown man who's just waffling on about it, but it's so true. I have a Pākehā friend or a European friend who's traveled all over the world, and she said to me she would really have loved to have learned Māori at school and that it become an official language, because as she was overseas and she watched other people converse in their language, she realized that Kiwis don't really have that.
We have a lack of culture.
And unless you spoke Māori, you can't really differentiate yourself from the English.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's important. It's not, Māori is not just important to Māoris. It's important to everyone because it's the only thing that separates us.
Yeah,
it really is.
It's one of the big proponents that make us Kiwi.
And as a Māori speaker myself, I think, and some people will agree with me, our language is, I wouldn't say it's dying how it used to be dying when my nan was alive, but it's still not in a healthy state. And the only way anything becomes more mainstream is if the majority are using it or it's in their culture. So the only way Māori is going to thrive is if Pākehā speak our reo.
Yeah.
And that can be quite controversial for Māori, but I'm like, no, we want them to have our reo. People don't realize the treaty is not about us having full sovereignty of this country. It's about us being in partnership.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think, and not just Pākehā, because we have for the last 20 years now been more than just a bicultural country. We're now becoming multicultural. So I think everyone should learn Māori. You got the former mayor of Gisborne. What's his name? Ming Foon or whatever. Sorry if I butchered your name. He speaks fluent Māori. So many Pākehās are speaking Māori. And I think that's good.
There was a tangi I went to. And for those of you who don't know what a tangi is, it's a funeral.
Remember when we could go to those?
Yeah.
Anyway,
that was something we could attend before this Uncle COVID became a thing. But there was a Pākehā doctor who turned up, and he did a whai kōrero in complete Māori, and it was wicked. He even followed it up with a waiata, which I really respected him after that, because I saw him come on, and then I was, as you are, like if you're caught in the wharanui and they start calling, well, you're going to be there for the pōwhiri. Like,
that's what you got to be.
So yeah, but when he spoke really well in our own reo, I was like, man, that's wicked, to see a Pākehā man with his wife totally do a full whai kōrero as well as followed up with a waiata, and it's not hard. Like, I may not be. I'm still trying to learn how to understand Māori myself, but it's not like, I've grown up with English, so it's just the same thing. It's just learning a different language.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like, I'm not trying to bash people for not speaking Māori. It's more about embracing the ideas of Māori and like the spirit of that culture and embracing it. Because it really is the only thing that distinguishes us from the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Some might argue with me, but I'm like, well, name something else that we have, that the world doesn't have. That's not Māori.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that
maybe number 8 wire.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the it's that open mindset to embrace something, which I think is also something that we do. Well, majority of it's anyway. As a country, we do it quite well, but we just don't. I guess we just don't do it to some things in this country.
What I think it is we're doing quite well compared to the last, I don't know, 80 or 100 years. But because we're doing so well, just like anything, when you're doing it too well, you can get slack and kind of like, apathetic towards it. And so it starts to go back.
Yep.
And I feel like it does that. But that's why we need conversations like this to keep it in the public.
Yeah.
But with that, there's the complete opposite of that, or not opposite. There's another thought of cultural appropriation. And as much as we love people embracing the culture, I'm seeing this a lot on TikTok, especially because I'm addicted to that app. I hope I'm cool like the kids. But you'll see a lot of these challenges, and it's like a cultural challenge. Like, it's a Samoan sivatau, or it's a Māori haka or something, or it's a black kind of African dance. Could be anything. And then because you know how TikTok works, anyone can copy.
Yep.
And you've got a whole lot of other ethnicities doing other people's cultural dances because they saw it on TikTok. And then in the comment section, like there was this one Asian dude, I can't remember his name, but he was making like a whole lot of poly jokes. And he got blown up.
Yeah.
But I thought they were funny.
Yeah.
So it makes you like,
Yeah, you got to work out that line, Or there's a line between
embracing and respecting.
Yeah, respecting and embracing, and jokes go to a certain line as well. But then that's one thing when you start saying jokes, because just in general with comedy, like that really pushes beyond a boundary line.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think with sometimes if you say a joke, like you gotta kind of have a think about it first before you push the post button.
Bro, hard. But it's not just jokes, it's everything. It's language. And I think one of the big scares that some Māori people have, and I just use, for people watching, I use Māori because I am Māori, but it can apply to a lot of cultures. One scare that a lot of people have is that once the mainstream start accepting Māori, and I mean Māori as a culture and a language, they start taking what's ours and start claiming it as theirs. We've seen it many times, right? Elvis Presley, Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, when he was white, he stole his own culture. No, that's a joke, fam. But you get what I mean, eh? So it's a fine balance between.
Yeah, it's a fine line. Like when I was working at where I was working at, I won't mention the company name, but but where I was working at, and it's a multicultural center. Sometimes there I questioned stuff that was going on, like as I was watching it go on inside the place, because it's a thing of, well, are we really doing the right thing by our culture, or are we bastardizing it? And it's a very fine line, like that you walk with that. And with me, just me as a person, I'm not quite overly sensitive about stuff. There's a few things that I might get overly sensitive about stuff, but that's just more passion. But I can definitely take a racial joke, and I definitely poke racial jokes at myself, all the time. So it's reading that situation, I guess. Who were you around? Who was it said to? Camembert.
Yeah. I think it's a complex issue, culture, because on one sense I'm saying embrace our culture, and another I'm like, don't steal it though. Don't whitewash it. Oh, what the heck's happening with my gears? Hold on. But because especially a lot of Māori speakers, I call them elitists. They'll say things like, Māori, if you can't speak Māori, then you're not Māori. And I'm sure you've heard that, eh?
Oh, plenty. Yeah. Especially for me in my case, because I lived overseas and I don't speak Māori. Yeah. Not fluently anyway. Like,
so here's what I say all the time. Governor Gray, the guy who was responsible for the New Zealand company, spoke probably better Māori than most of us today. Is he Māori?
Yeah, of course not.
But by the logic I used before, he's Māori.
Yeah, he's Māori.
Yeah,
Because
so
he's able to speak.
it's this. I think that's just a silly idea that we need to embrace things 100%, but it's more about appreciating, using it when it's appropriate, and not bashing the culture. I think.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on like what do you call it? The kind of like young people and the way that they're using language, like they kind of start to create slang in Māori.
I think that's good. I think that's a sign of a living language. Because one problem, and I know a few of my uncles and even my dad have said that sometimes the language is a bit too academic and it's too formal. And the reason it's formal is because the only place they're learning that language is in a classroom.
Yep.
And during the 70s, 80s, and even the 90s, and even now, Latin was taught in schools, despite the language being extinct, right? And it was a purely academic language. So that's no good either. Like, we don't want just pure, like, everything to be correct. I think when there's slangs and there's swear words and there's other things, to me, it's horrible in one sense because you're like, you're butchering the reo, but in another sense, they're speaking it. So, and I watched this video. I'll leave a link in the description, talking about how far back can we go before we start to not recognize English language, because the English language has transformed so much. And they went back to the 1500s and showed the script, and it made zero sense to me. And then they said that was the English language. So to me,
was it almost Shakespearean?
Nah, bro. It was like gibberish, bro. It sounded like a bunch of sounds. You know what I mean?
Just grunts and grunts and moans and
yeah. So with slangs and things, I think language does evolve, and it has to be alive. I'd rather that than correct Māori that's only spoken by like 10 people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, that's enough cultural rants.
Yeah.
Bro, what did you think of Simon Bridges' rant?
I couldn't even bring myself to watch it.
You know how many supporters he's lost? Not just obviously a lot of people don't like National at the moment. But what really got me,
imagine if National was in charge during all of this.
Bro, we'd all be dying of corona. We'd be dying before the coronavirus. But here's the thing.
I'm not a pro-Labour person either. Like I'm not endorsing any political party.
I want to make this clear. I don't even support Labour. Okay? We can go on about that later.
Yeah.
As awesome as Jacinda Ardern has been, all I have to say is ihu mātou and parehauraki claims. That's all I'm going to say. You can do your own research. But she's a great Prime Minister. I would say that even the most diehard National fans probably not enough vote for him.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's it's pretty bad when the former leader / Prime Minister of the National Party is endorsing the guy behind you.
It's like, bro, get out of here, bro.
Yeah. So, bro, Simon Bridges, if you're listening, bro, he represents Tauranga, doesn't he?
Bro, don't remind me, Jimmy.
So it's very likely that he could listen to this. If you're listening, bro, I'll probably start packing up your office things now.
Honestly, bro. Holy.
Because if I've ever seen every political thing, and I've been paying attention to this stuff for as high as I can remember since the first time I went to Parliament, which was when I was 8 years old. So I've been paying attention to how the political things run when it gets to this kind of stuff. Usually when one of the former leaders tell everyone else that they like the guy that's supposed to succeed you, usually that means that the whole party's going to turn on you, buddy.
Bro. If I don't know, man. And there's not too many other great figures in that party that I would vote for.
Yeah. I don't feel like that I should explain this to you because it's not really rocket science, but the way that some things have been going in parliament and politics lately, it feels like that we need to get back to basics.
Oh my goodness. I think, you know what the worst part is? It seemed like a pre-planned speech. Like he had pre-planned his rant on whatever she decided. So if we were to stay on level 4, he would have said something about the economy.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like, come on, bro.
Yeah. And like his smirk and stuff on his face, hence why I couldn't really watch it, because it was just like it's like he was so confident that he was going to go in there and be like, oh yes, people are going to agree with me on this.
He was expecting some like hard out far right people to embrace him.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, even the far right's not embracing you at the moment, bro. Holy, even John Key's going nubbo.
Yeah.
Bro, you stuffed that one up.
Yeah. Yeah, when the former prime minister is telling you, buddy.
Right. And he's the one who, because it was John Key, not Bill English, who picked him. And then Bill English endorsed him as well.
You see, I actually got to not meet Bridges, but he came in close vicinity of me. Like,
what was he like?
Bro, just the way he walks, like you could just tell, bro, you are no. Like, and it's just something about his presence there. And I'm saying this as someone who is cultured. There's just this awkwardness that you get with him, like kind of just like he looks at you as if like, you know, oh, there's one of those savages right over there. There's one of those descendants of the savages right there.
You know what's ironic? I'm pretty sure he's got Māori whakapapa.
Yeah, but it was almost like I felt like he was like, look, not only just me because I was with other people, but yeah, it just felt like he was looking down on all of us.
What's that superiority complex? Eh?
Yeah.
I don't like if national supporters are watching this. Like, I don't really care. It's not really against national. It's Simon Bridges. Yeah. Honestly, even Paula Bennett could probably do a better job. Who's the worst national figure we've ever seen? They could do a better job. Just saying. National, saw your crap out, mate. If you have to go get John Key again, go do it. Because honestly, I think John Key is the only person that could beat Jacinda. And everyone goes, oh, no, John Key was a horrible prime minister. 9 years says otherwise.
Yeah, he did get elected twice.
Twice. He got elected. And not only that, a lot of businessmen talk about him like he was the man, you know, because he was to them tax breaks at the top end, increased GST, put in fiber broadband, and that speeds up communications, just things like that. Because I remember when he said that, because I'll be honest, Whānau, I voted for him the first time because he tricked us all. Said all the good things at school because that was my first time I could vote.
Oh, you were such a greenhorn, and you got lured in, and you said,
"This is why." You know what?
Come vote for me.
That's another thing. Someone said, "Oh, people should be able to." Yeah, they said people should be able to vote at 16. I was like, man, you don't even know how to like cook food when you can't do jack when you're 16. You should not be able to vote. You should not even be able to vote at 18. Holy.
Yeah, you still haven't had life happen to you, you know. And all you youngins out there, just believe us on that. Don't try and rebuttal. Like
it's like, oh, I have intelligence. I can vote. Trust me, your intelligence don't mean jack when you don't understand what bills feel like. What?
I mean, even me at the age of 25, I thought me at 18. So me at the age of 25, I thought me at the age of 18/17, I thought I was a knucklehead. Yeah. And now me at another 5 years of experience on top of that. Now I really think that I was a knucklehead back when I was a teenager.
Bro. What's it going to be like when we're 40 and we're like, bro, we were such idiots at 30?
So I mean, you know,
but then at 50 we go, I can't remember.
Well, I think we all go through that peak, and I've still yet to experience the later part of this. Is what I've read on this thing, which is when you're young, you feel so, you just feel so like I'm just going to go out there and real optimistic, and
I'm going to change the world.
I'm gonna just change the world with everything that I got, and then you start to get to like this age, which is what I'm starting to understand and feel a little bit more of, which is, man, maybe not. Maybe I'm just okay with like coasting a little bit. And then supposedly you get like another little kind of oomph of, oh yeah, no, I can change the world and blah, 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 blah. And then eventually, like when you get to like the age of 50 or something, you just start going like, no.
The world won't change because of you. I'm just saying. Everyone goes, oh, it only takes one person to change. No, it doesn't. It takes a lot more than one person to change the world.
Yeah. Well, you look at Greta Thunberg. Is that her name? Thunberg?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like everyone.
I think that's her name. Sorry if we butchered that name too.
Yeah. The media really hyped her up and put her on this pedestal, and then she became like this huge symbol of young, revolutionary person. And like, has much changed? The only thing that really changed was when everyone went into lockdown. That was the only thing that changed for the environment. Everyone got told to stay home.
Yeah. And you know what the thing about Greta is? Bless her soul, but she doesn't know jack. There's that guy.
How dare you?
That other European guy. How dare you? Same age or similar age, maybe a little bit older. I think he's 20 now. Boyan Slat. Sorry, man. Sorry if I'm butchering any of these names. But
Stop it, they're already dead.
He's created all these things. He's created a system that cleans the oceans of plastic. And he's like, he's got to be like 19, 20 now. Where's the attention for guys that are actually doing things?
Yep.
That are saving the world?
That are actually practical.
Yeah.
There are actual ways that we can use
it. He's trying to actually come up with solutions. And it's nothing against Greta. I think that's a media-driven thing. And we've all seen how dumb journalists are in the last few weeks. Honestly, if you're a journalist and you're watching this, no respect.
Also, also with that, all the like universities or the Toi Ohomai, the institutes that teach these journalists, what's up?
Like, get another job. You look like idiots, all of you. I've never seen such dumb people. Like
my 8-year-old son could have asked those questions.
No, he would have asked better questions. This is how I reckon. In my head. Well, actually, no. This is how, if I summed it up, how all of the press conferences have been. Jacinda Ardern or Dr. Ashley will be like, okay, we've just talked about the flu for an hour. So no questions about the flu. And then the first question will be like, so what about the flu? Oh. They're idiots, man.
Yeah, I really love the one that I really loved was the one before we went into level 4. And we were just sitting at like level, we were just about to go into, I think she was...
was that the 2 days of level 3?
Yeah, I think she just kind of just announced it as like, we're going to go to level 4 on Wednesday, but right now we're at level 3. And like, like she starts addressing like everything and like, just talking about what things are going to look like for level 3 and then level 4 and blah, 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 blah. And then when they came to question time, one of the media people asked about drive-through at Macca's and if it would be operational, how would that kind of operate and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so first thing, she's the Prime Minister. She's not a McDonald's worker. So, for her to comment on how they operate in terms of the business.
You give us stuff.
But then on top of that, I was like, besides, we're also in a global pandemic. People are dying. And you get to address the leader of our nation and you get to ask her a question and you want to know if you can go get a Big Mac. I was like, our priorities are definitely in are in sync. Like they're definitely where they need to be.
But speaking of, okay, because level 3 is about to come up, and we can Uber Eats all of the takeouts, at least the drive-through options and contactless.
Dude, if you wanted to share in a business right now,
Yeah.
Uber Eats would be it.
I would suggest this. If you don't, bro, honestly, you should come stay here. You should, because you're allowed to change regions once. Well, technically, you're in my region. You should come stay here, bro, and become a Uber Eats driver for just a few weeks, bro, till this is over. Because I know the struggle's real. The bro lost his job because of coronavirus. But anyway, I thought about this because obviously, if you know me, I love KFC. I think all the nation have starting to declare their love for KFC, but I've been declaring it long before coronavirus.
Yeah, and saying that too, there have been a few people on my friends list which I didn't realize you like the dirty stuff. Like, I thought that they were like purely clean green eaters, but now,
bro,
like they're starting to come out of the woodworks a little
exposing
bit.
all the pretend clean eaters and pretend vegans out there that think it's like, oh, I'm so organic. Shut up. You like KFC. Don't pretend you don't. You like KFC. But I thought about this because of the whole situation. I'm probably not going to go to KFC. And not because of the drive-through, but hear me out on this. I think at a time like this, it's best to spend our money not on a big corporation. I'm thinking that, I'm going to go local. As much as I love KFC. But I just think if you're watching this, it would be much better to invest your takeaway food money into something local. It'll probably be dearer, but it will taste better. And and there'll be time for KFC later when the craze dies down.
Yeah.
But I just think, nah.
Yeah, invest local. I'm totally for investing in local. I was doing that before the lockdown anyway, because being a part of an arts community, what you also meet is all the local producers that you play at the festivals at. Like, so, those people become your friends. And so instead of going to one of the big coffee shops, I'll go to my mate's coffee shop. I've got people who own little takeaway outlets and stuff, and they make great food. And so I will at least go in there, once or twice a month just to have a meal. And it's also partly to support them. And we're all out here. We're all just trying to get our way through. We're all a little bit capitalist, we're all just a little bit capitalist.
But I think that is capitalism when you buy local. It's another form of capitalism. You're choosing to invest your capital in local. I think too, the small restaurants are good. I can't remember where I was going with it. But buy local. That's where I was going. And saying that, as much as I like buying local, I'm always a quality over nepotism kind of guy. I don't really care if it's our own. If it sucks, I'm not buying it.
Yeah. yeah, for sure.
Hey, it's like that period remember when New Zealand Music Month first became a thing when we were like teenagers? And everyone's like, oh yeah, you have to like New Zealand music because it's supporting our local musicians. I'm like, if the music is trash,
it's trash.
Don't
be afraid to say it's trash,
bro.
Because honesty is the best policy.
If you like the top 40 from overseas, then you like the top 40 and that's all good. Stop forcing and I think it's the same with businesses. But in saying that, if the business is good, I'm gonna pick it, and I think I will when we finally can. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely got a few of my mates who are in that food and restaurant kind of thing.
Actually, I've got a friend too.
I'll be hitting.
What are you going to be hitting?
Well, shout out to Tea and Happiness. It's my vegan spot. So yes, even though I eat meat, I do like vegan food as well. And,
no, but I would say you're vegan for health reasons.
Yeah,
I
like to have it as a balance to balance out every other bad stuff that I eat.
As opposed to like a vegan, I call them religious vegans. You know the ones I'm talking about.
Yeah. So yeah, I still eat chicken. I still eat steak. I still eat most meat
Praise
out
the
there.
Lord. Praise the Lord.
And yeah, I think it's great. I actually did a little experiment on myself to kind of see what it would be like if I went completely vegetarian. And while I was being completely vegetarian, I ate a lot of vegan stuff, which blew my mind. That's when I started to go, that's when my perceptions changed on vegan food. And I started to go, this is actually some really good food. I really enjoy it. But the problem with that was that I was having emotional withdrawals. And
hey.
yeah, well, when I mean emotional withdrawals, I mean just like I always felt like I was on edge a little bit more. Like I was always just a little bit more edgy, and it was kind of like cold turkey in a way. And I was just like agitated, more so than what I would be if I just had meat. Like, and it was just like I just want to just have a piece of steak just for the sake of I like steak, and so I'm of the mindset that if you like it, just have it. Like,
a little bit won't hurt.
Yeah, like it's not going to kill you. It's just, just don't overindulge in anything. Everything can balance.
I mean, you can die eating too many vegetables too. You can die, if just the excess of anything, eh?
Yeah, so it's all in balance, And so, so I've got a vegan spot, Tea and Happiness. Shout out to Karen or Karen. Sorry, I should say. Don't mean to butcher people's names. We've just started doing that during this podcast.
Again, Fano, if we've butchered your name and you're watching this, feel free to correct us, because I know how that feels. That's why my name is TJ and not my actual name.
Yeah. So Karen is one of them at Tea and Happiness. I love that place, as well as the Early Bird, which is Anthony's spot. That's a little coffee shop.
Yeah.
He's just a little coffee maker, and shout out to you, bro. The Early Bird. I'll be coming in for a coffee sometime when I'm allowed to, anyway.
I'm going to the Cherrywood Bakery down the road.
Oh, nice.
Also, was it Easy Feeds? My friend Jazz. Shout outs to her. She makes like chop suey, fried bread. Minus this mayonnaise, the potato salad. Oh, and there's a ramen place. I'm not even going to pretend I know how to pronounce it, but they're really good. So probably going to go there. And then eventually I'll get to KFC. But I thought, nah, you know what? Let's wait.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't want to get mixed up in all the hysteria of it, because it's probably going to be it's probably going to be worse here in New Zealand
anywhere else.
Than anywhere else. Yeah, like
New Zealand love KFC way too much, and it's now apparent.
Yeah, and like I reckon it's going to be worse than the panic buying. I reckon that's going to be the hysteria for us as the KFC, the McDonald's.
Bro, I wonder how, do we even have enough chickens for how many people are going to eat at KFC? And people go, I'm not going to lie, as soon as I go to KFC eventually, I'm going to order so much KFC.
Yeah, I'm gonna smack it.
I'll smack the hell out of that KFC. Wings, the whole lot.
Yeah. I'll probably get me a crusher, even though I probably don't need to have the crusher. I'll probably just try to get it on just so I could have it.
I just realized this is our third podcast, and we've already talking about KFC for at least 50 minutes of all three of the podcasts. I swear, man.
The little video I did with the
chicken.
Yeah, with the baby come back.
Bro, that was on.
And the baby come back. Da, 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 da. And my sister commented on this. And I'm gonna tag her in this as well. But she asked me, where the hell did you get that the KFC bucket? And what I actually done was, that's the one that we had.
Wow, the last time that we...
And I cleaned it out because I knew that we were going to be going into lockdown, and I knew I wanted to use it as a prop for a video.
You're naughty. You're naughty.
So I kept it. But the thing that I really laughed about was that with my sister, she knew it was a real KFC bucket.
Bro, I know, I saw the video. I knew it was real too. I didn't even question it. I was just like, I know where this is.
Yeah, and because my in our family, we have a tradition. We have a family tradition where KFC was always every Easter. And so obviously it's being Easter, we would usually get KFC. Obviously this year it wasn't able to happen. But what my sister did was she made herself her own fried chicken, and then she made herself her own bucket with the logo and everything. She traced it on there, and she sent us all a photo.
Oh, mean. Mean.
So, the KFC love runs deep.
Yeah. Oh, it's just, I don't know. It's just nice, eh? I can't even explain to you. And I see you made some fried chicken. I saw your post.
I saw yours.
Yeah. And I ain't going to lie, it was pretty nice.
Yeah.
And I'm probably going to do it again one day. Was it KFC?
Yeah.
I gave my first cousin, I gave her the recipe, and she was saying, "Oh, mean," and I just told her straight away. I said, "Don't expect KFC.
Yeah,
you'll be so disappointed." And she ate it, and she goes, "Oh, it was nice, but it felt healthy." And that, friends, is how you know KFC is really bad for you, because I told her to deep fry it in tons of hinu, that's oil or fat for you people who don't know, and just deep fry it in that, and just put heaps of flour and carbs and all sorts of other stuff, and somehow that felt healthier than KFC. And she's right, because I had the same thing too. I was like, this is way too clean.
Yep.
So
my first 2 bits of chicken were definitely that kind of very clean fried.
Yeah.
And like my sister, she commented on my photo saying like, "Oh, that looks really good." And I said to her, "It's good, but we'll just leave it at that." Like, we won't delve out deeper into that. Like, it tastes nice, but it's still not KFC.
I gotta admit that I got crazy with because I was like, well, since I've got all this flour.
Yeah, I saw that you fried off with pork chop.
Bro, I fried the pork chop, I fried the chips. I was went crazy. I gotta admit, this probably were nicer than the chicken. Bro, and just the suggestion, if anyone's like a top ranking dude in KFC, deep fry the chips in the same batter that you make the chicken. It's fire. Because I done that with the chicken, with the chips that I had. I put them in the like the same thing you do with the chicken. Put it in the thing. Put in the flour, bro. It was heaven, bro. It was just Carb City. It was all about that.
It was all about the carbs,
bro. It was so good. Oh my goodness, man. Anyway, just don't be fat like me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I've been good. Like I've actually lost weight. I've lost.
This guy lost 6 kilos.
Yeah. Well, I've put on another kilo since eating that fried chicken bit. But yeah, I'm down 5. So
I mean, actually, I've had to get back into a routine lately, because when the lockdown started, I was just, I'm gonna eat anything. I was gonna eat anything, stay up late, and go to bed whenever I want. And it was cool, but I could feel it beginning of this week, just how crap I felt. And I went to bed at 5 a.m. once and woke up at like 6 p.m, and I realized, oh no, I've really whacked myself out.
Yeah.
So I've had to reset everything. So what I done was I just stayed up all night, all day, all night, went to bed on time. And only today have I started feeling good again.
Yeah.
So
I had to kick myself back in before the start of this week, just because lessons were starting again. So I had to realign my body clock, which was actually easier for me than what I thought, because I thought that I might have had a bit of a struggle to clock back in.
I did.
It took me about 2-3 days.
I suppose before we finish, because we'll wrap it up soon, how do you think people are going to handle the real world once this is over?
Well, one thing that I thought was, because, they constantly put out this whole thing of let's get back to normality. What was normal, and was it really that great? That's my biggest question that I've thought about during this time is, yeah, was it good? Like the way things were, because there was a lot of stuff in that I hated and that I didn't think was good, but we kind of just sociably accepted it and whatnot. So yeah, how are we going to handle it? In a way, I think that we've kind of screwed up natural selection as vile as that might sound. I really don't know. I really, you know, and that's one of the biggest things that is coming out of this is all this uncertainty of how things are going to be. Because I think what we really need to do, because while I was out on a walk, I happened to bump into one of the bros. Don't worry, we didn't interbubble. We stayed in our bubbles.
You socially distanced.
But we had a little bit of a chat, and we were sharing this whole thing about I think it's about time that we look more introspectively and supporting local and doing stuff like that, because we're still in it together as a local and a national community. So, you know, we'll be fine. We've just got to adapt. That's what, and I think, you know, just naturally as humans, that's what we do. That's survival instinct, is that we're able to adapt probably better than most species.
Yep. Yeah, I feel you on all of that. And I think my thoughts are we've been given, because we've had a crap run, haven't we, before this coronavirus, of wrecking the earth, wrecking each other. World War III almost started this year. The Australian bushfires, measles almost killed Samoa. It's sad that this virus had to do it, but we've almost got a soft reset button.
Yep.
And I think, we should start questioning a lot of things about what normal is. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but the air just smells good. Yeah.
The thing with being in New Zealand, because we're
relatively...
We're one of the cleanest countries in the world.
Yeah.
Like,
and we're still paru.
Yeah. And like, you know, so I laugh at like these other places that are just like, oh my God, look at this. Like all the smog's gone in there. Yeah. Like, I don't really know what smog is, you know.
Nah. Like, but I have noticed just the quality of the air smells a lot.
Especially at night. Like, because I've gone outside at night a couple of times and it just seems so much more clear.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Cool thing that, especially just living down the road from the redwoods, is when you go into just the first part of it. So the first part's kind of nearest the main road. On a usual day, you can still hear the cars, and the coolest thing about this time is that there are no cars.
Oh, it's beautiful.
All you can just hear, and I've never been able to hear that growing up, is just all the birds in trees that close to the road.
Yep. No, I feel you on that. I think too, one of the biggest takeaways is that a lot of jobs can be done without the need for so many resources. Office jobs, because office jobs consume the most power, waste the most paper. But we're finding out a lot of them don't even need to go to work to do their job effectively. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it makes you question these things. It's like, why have we got so much crap set up that we don't have to do that inefficiently?
Yeah.
A whole lot of things.
And like, I hope people kind of look at it more as well as how that can impact the family situation.
Yeah.
You know, if you're around more, you know, it's beneficial for you to be around more with your kids.
Because it works both ways, right? If you've got abusive parents, it's not going to be good being locked up 4 weeks. But let's talk about the general population. Some kids are only going to remember this pandemic as the time where they spent so much time with their parents and they loved it.
Yeah.
And so that makes you question, like, what? Yeah. A lot of people,
you know,
what do we value?
Yeah, the values of what we
Some of these kids are deprived of their, I would say they're not abusive parents, but they're just because of the grind.
Yeah.
You've got to put bread on the table, all of that. And so a lot of kids get raised and they don't even know their parents. And their parents weren't dysfunctional or anything. Just don't know them.
Yeah.
These 4 weeks, and I see it in my nephews, because my nephews, one's 3, I hope Ma's not watching. One's 3 and one's almost 2.
Uncle of the year.
Hey, I've given them stuff. That's all that matters. But they're spending so much time with their father because he can't work, and they look like they're really happy, to be honest. So yeah, just things like that. What's important to the human species, and even travel, like the plane emissions have gone down. I always laugh at people go, oh, you know, I want to be free to travel, but actually that's the reason why the Earth is kind of messed up.
Well, when you look at it, you're exactly right, because we go everywhere now with just like that, you know. And
but the things we do to make it like that is we damage the whole planet.
Everything comes at a price. There's no such thing as a free lunch.
Yeah. Yep. We the more convenience we have, the probably more intense it is on resources. But yeah, I think my hope is that we spend more time invested into how do we sustain this type of lifestyle, as in the travel, the things that we've been doing, but without the need for so much damage on the earth.
Yeah, without compromising things.
Because a lot of the reasons why people need gas is because we haven't spent enough time figuring out how to use other resources to fuel. Yeah. But maybe we should. I don't know.
And then there's the other thing with that too, is that some of these bigger corporations, they don't want,
because it makes a lot of money.
Yeah, they don't want these changes because they are profiting from it. So the change means that they have to change as well. So it's kind of a I wouldn't say double-edged sword. It's just kind of a real asshole thing that goes on.
You know what? We should save that conversation for another time, because we could be getting another guest soon that's talking about the economy and whatnot, right? Because that'll be good.
Yep, we get some diversity going on.
By the way, Fana, if you're watching, if you want to be a guest, all you need is a mic and a camera. And I've asked some people when they were like, after they saw that podcast with Jono, they were like, "Oh, I don't think I'm that interesting." I'm like,
"Oh, everyone's got a story.
Everyone's got a story. That's my thing. You've all got stories, and I'm not here to interview celebrities unless they want to be interviewed. But we're here to.
It's open floor. Even you, Simon Bridges, I'll happily welcome you on.
Honestly,
I don't know about the pro.
No, honestly,
I wasn't.
Because here's the thing. Even if I don't agree with people, I would like to understand why they are the way they are. So if Simon Bridges is watching, he probably isn't. But if he is, and he wants to be on this podcast to defend his actions, or at least give us a rationale, how do I, bro? How do I?
And if Simon Bridges turns us down, then Auntie Jacinda, feel free to take up the spot.
Nah, she can buzz off. She's nah, shot Auntie. But she's been mean, bro. Honestly, bro. I got no hate for you. Yeah, and it's ironic because I said I would never vote for you, but I still won't. That's because I believe in the MMP system. You vote for different parties and you get a balanced government. Yeah. So vote for who you want, Fano.
Yeah. Vote for who you feel is right.
Yeah, not who you think might get in, or like, I'm going to vote for Labour because I don't want National. No, vote for the party you actually want, and you'll get a balanced government like what we have now.
Yeah.
Because I know New Zealand, I know Winston Peters is running a lot of shots.
Uncle Winnie.
Hi, bro.
Uncle Winnie.
Any closing remarks or thoughts?
Well, be safe, be cool. We're going into level 3. So we're almost out of this whole thing, and we don't want to be going back to level 4, or we don't want to get to level 2, then come back to level 3, and then back to level 4. We want to keep going down because me and the bro want to play some music.
Honestly, I'm so poor. I'd love to do a gig.
Yeah, we need to start getting out there and earning a living.
Bro, honestly, I don't want to sound sexist. I'm just gonna say it. I wish I was like. Sometimes you get these hot chicks, bro, and they got those. Have you heard of OnlyFans? You can start an OnlyFans account, bro, and so you pay a monthly subscription of however many dollars to see like girls' photos, bro. You're making all kinds of money, bro.
Right. Oh, so they're just taking a photo of themselves and then they give
Bro,
it up.
they're not even necessarily R18. They could just be. Anyway, yeah. I wish I could just be like, yeah, here's a pic of my foot. Oh, $15, bro. Just saying, man.
Oh, that's not right, is it?
It's not right.
Right, is it?
Oh,
jeez, that one's questionable.
money doesn't discriminate, bro. Money does not discriminate.
Money talks.
Talks, bro. I'm keen for some money, G. Jokes.
Standards are slowly going down for what you'll do for
my
it.
standards are going low, bro. But see, I can't anyway because I'm not a chick. And let's be honest, it's only guys paying for photos like that.
Yeah. And so what if you take a photo of your foot, you can just say, yeah, I got a real hairy ass leg with with some real manly ass toes.
Some weirdos are like, oh, I'm into that.
Yeah. There's a market for it. I'm pretty
such
sure
a
there is.
Oh
You know?
my gosh. Nah, bro.
Take a photo of my mouth and just go, yeah, that's right, I got a mustache.
Holy hooker. Oh my gosh. All right. Anyway.
Bano, stay safe. Wash your hands. Be kind. Spread love. Stay home until we are out of this lockdown.
Mean whānau. Don't spread too much love though, because you got to stay home.
In your bubbles.
Yeah. And for those who are in a relationship, but they've been in different bubbles to their partner, unluckies. Anyway, my name is TJ.
My name is Trojan.
This is Infection 19 podcast, and we'll see you on the next one. Let's go.